Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of the show. Today, I'm telling you what, Superintendent 22 years, same rural Illinois high school. Boring. Yeah, you might be saying, but this guy's not. We're talking like 100, half the man he used to be. That's what I would say. Half the man he used to be. Openly admits almost burned out while running a destination district. Dr. Dan Stecken, Superintendent of Seneca Township High School, District 160. Dan, welcome to the show.
You got it, Joe. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk today.
Dude, what's it like to be you today?
Today I was recovering from a 50K ruck in the snow and ice
I
last
saw that.
weekend.
We need to unpack that ruck walk a little bit.
Yeah,
What are you okay?
I'm
Are
good.
you
I'm
okay in
good.
the head?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, a lot of people ask me if I was stupid. My maintenance director actually told me that we're no longer calling you Dr. Dan. We're calling you Dr. Dumb.
Okay.
So yeah, we started at 1 a.m. in trails of Indianapolis, Eagle Creek Reservoir, a beautiful park that I've been to. I've got some friends out there. And we just challenge ourselves to do hard things. And
So you started at 1 a.m.
yep.
Went out on a crazy little hike with not the lightest of affairs, right? You had a heavy backpack on?
Yeah, about 40-pound
40
rucksack
pounds?
on. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was about 20 degrees, fresh 7-8 inches of snow on the ground, ice. It was a challenge. That snow and ice was something that we were not as prepared for. Not the cold, but the trying not to fall, trying to make, focused on every step. And last year we did 21 miles, so adding 10 more miles to it. It was a mental roadblock that I overcame. I'll tell you that. I've done a lot of hard things, and that was the hardest.
So I'm a guy that is relentless to purpose in all things. There's a purpose to this. Some would look at it and go, absolutely, this is purposeless. What is the deeper purpose of doing something like that?
Yeah, so a lot of people run marathons. A lot of people, do different challenging things. And honestly, Joe, a lot of my writing is built around this simple concept that I wish today that maybe 5 years ago when I became superintendent that I was as physically and mentally prepared as I should have been. So there's this kind of concept of challenging myself to be in the arena and do hard things. I'm not going to go out and try to run the Chicago Marathon. That doesn't interest me. But doing something that's not only physically hard but mentally draining. I mean, no sleep, starting at 1 a.m. in the pitch black, 20 degrees, windy, cold. Those are all elements that excite me. And most people are probably like, why would you ever do this? I want to challenge myself physically, but also mentally. I wish, I can't change the past, but I wish 5 or 6 years ago I was in the same mental place that I am now. And
Wow.
I always tell people, like on my Substack and in the book that I've written, I'm writing to myself from 5 years ago.
Mm.
And I think there's great power in that purpose of what you're trying to do. I want to support other leaders. It's uplifting and fulfilling to me. It's that piece that when I retired from being a head softball coach, I said a small piece of me died then, and I call myself a recovering head coach. I miss those. This is going to sound cheesy, but I miss those inside practices, just jacking around with the kids, working on their technique off, T drills or front toss, but just joking around with them and supporting other leaders has filled that void.
Mm. Well, that ruck, you weren't out there by yourself. You
Yeah, there was 8 of us,
you
and
had some influence to say you weren't the only crazy one out there. So
I
I don't
was I
know.
I was maybe one of the craziest. I mean, I one of the guys had to bail last minute, and he's kind of our hype guy. He Mike Donatelli. He's a young guy. He's the best day ever guy, and he had to cancel last minute to spend time with his family, which was important. And so when I got there at 12:45 in the morning, I said, "All right, if Mike's not here, I got to be the hype guy now
You
too."
tag you're it. Tag
So
you're
yeah,
it.
oldest guy there and the hype guy with a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds doing the ruck with me. And what was really cool, I mean, not cool, but a couple of the guys that tapped out. Now they were Southerners, the Confederates had to tap out, but they were not ready for the snow and ice. And one's a guy who hikes the Appalachian Trail in his backyard a couple times a week, and the other guy's a bodybuilder. So I told my kids when I got home from that, I'm like, yeah, it's 45 years old and beat a bodybuilder. Beat a guy as a professional hiker. That's your dad. Father of the year.
There it is. There it is. I don't know, midlife crisis maybe that you're going through, or what's
No,
next?
I don't. I mean, I'd like to have a Corvette, but I don't have one.
I think
It's
the
honestly, Joe.
rucksack is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you and your listeners, it's a lot of regret. I mean, in my 20s and 30s, I was not healthy.
Hmm.
I've always been a hard worker, but I did not. I spent too much time. I spent too much time helping other people and didn't put myself first. So, it was about 2019, I really started getting after it. And I was then I was 360 pounds then. I was a coach in multiple sports and got into administration and just the kind of sedentary stuck behind my desk, doing paperwork, doing board reports, and just finally one day had enough and just started making some small changes that became habits. And now, 5, 6 years later, we're doing great things.
So tell me about Stress Leader. You wrote the book,
Yep.
and that came from kind of some valley time of just your own personal time and having to write that, like you said, to you first, and then it was amplified to others. What is the book and your coaching doing for leaders today?
Yeah. So the books, you're spot on with the book description. It was entirely writing to myself. It was going through a valley in my life of, my kids are getting older, been married to the best wife ever for, over 20 years. And this, you kind of look in the mirror one day and just realize this is not who I aspire to be. I mean, how can I lead a district that is a destination district, one of the greatest small districts in all of Illinois? And how can I say that I want all this greatness for this district and for our kids and for our staff when I'm not really, you know, carrying the boat, so to speak? And so I wrote the book, Stress Leaders Stay in the Game, because I was also that first year as superintendent was tough. We've got COVID going on, and you're the lack of grace and humanity that a lot of people have for your position. The concept that, that's why you get paid the big bucks. That there's a bullseye on your back and that you're just, you're target practice for some people. And I got broad shoulders and I got thick skin. I can handle all that. But the reality is, I quickly learned that a lot of my colleagues had things much worse than I. I was going through my own kind of self-improvement journey. And what started as me just taking phone calls, text messages, meeting a guy out for a drink, ended up becoming a support system that I tell you what, I talked about filling that void. Man, it's awesome. I was just sharing this morning with somebody in my office that yesterday I took 4 calls from 4 different leaders, all 4 of them close in my nearby network. Well, one a little further away, but it's just hard. The job's hard.
Yeah.
And there is a sort of dehumanization of the role that people think that you signed up just to be their punching bag. And the concept of it comes with the job. There's a piece to that for sure, but that doesn't make it right. And so Stress Leaders is a couple-day retreat that we have in the summer to support these people, to sort of take off that suit of armor and just be vulnerable for a little bit and realize that there are people going through the same things you're going through, but you don't have to do it alone. I mean, Joe, nobody else in my district has my job. Nobody else knows what I do on a daily basis. And that's okay. I enjoy that part of it, but there's a lot of leaders who struggle with identity crisis, healthy choices, and just being still, slowing down. When I see you post about your beautiful cabin, your wooded retreat, I think to myself, man, I'd like to have something like that someday, but there's no free time to slow down and do that right now.
There's no slowing down while we're building that.
That's true
That's
too.
for the next generation to slow down. But right now, there's work to be done.
Yeah. Well, the job's got to get done no matter what.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. And I love your resolute stance towards, Yeah, the job is hard, but we don't need to be victimized by that. We
Yeah.
don't need to be victimized. And I go, as a former superintendent, and now I go to superintendent conferences, and you pan the audience and you just ask yourself, how many healthy individuals are there in this place? And it honestly, I get watered up because it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that we've got so many unhealthy people that don't even know what questions to ask to get back on the road to recovery, or just kind of just a standard level of health again. Because the new commodity, I think, for any uh, public school system is energy, right? You've got to have high energy, and you can't bring the energy unless you are a healthy person. So, yeah, I'm just so grateful that you get it. You've experienced it. You walked through the valley to get to where you're going. You've developed an unbelievable character through that journey as well. But now you are standing resolute, intent to serve the needs of others in the same position. So,
Well, I appreciate the attaboys. You don't get a lot of those in my role here. But, the cover of my book is a picture that I took on the Manitou Incline in Colorado Springs. And every year
is
I
that the
hike that.
steps? All the steps that go
Yep.
up? I've done that a few times. Do you have them counted yet? How many
Yeah.
are there?
2,940.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
don't do that with a ruck on your back, though, do you?
well, not you. You might have just inspired me for next summer. I do it every summer. My sister lives 5 minutes from there. And that hike straight up, the first time I did it, I didn't think I was going to get to the top. And when I finally did get to the top and kind of looked down and realized what I just accomplished, what a powerful metaphor for life there. But then coming back down, they don't want you to come back down the way you came up. They want you to take the bear trail
Right.
back down. Well, I had
Right.
plans, and it's a 3.5 mile hike back down, a mile up and 3.5 down. So I think that it speaks to me in so many levels about the book that I wrote about, shocking your system and making changes and filling your cup up first, but then also serving others. But then things happen. God laughs when we plan, right? And the reality is, you finish this amazing journey to the top of the mountain, but you still got to come back down.
Mm-hmm.
And not only got to come back down, but you got to take a switchback trail all the way down. That's going to take you, a long time to get there. So yeah, stress leaders, the book itself is great. The group is great. Staying in the game is also an important message for me, because more and more people are leaving this industry.
Yeah.
And they're not signing up to be superintendents anymore. I mean, I'm in a destination district. If I lost my job tomorrow, somebody would want this job 110%. But the reality is, I'm also the president of our local region. We have 29 districts in our region. We had 9 new superintendents this year, a third. And we're going to have more next year.
And those recruitment piles, those selection piles, they're hardly wet spots. There's hardly a pool to draw from these days.
And it's honestly, it's like teaching jobs. We're one of the highest paying districts in all of Illinois. And I've got a current job opening that's a desirable job. It's been open for over a month. I have 4 applicants. What is that saying about not only education in general, but certainly Illinois and where I live, rural Illinois? I remember 20 plus years ago applying for jobs and sending my resume to 200 different districts across the state and telling my brand new bride, wherever I get a job, we're moving there.
Yeah.
It's a different world now.
It is a different world. And yeah, I love the hope that you have. I love the fact that you've got your dukes up and you're not willing to settle for, our systems are I say it boldly, our systems are broken. Our systems are broken. And the right superintendent coming into a district is not going to change the system.
No, your system's only going to change, well, at least in your building, in your classrooms. And like you said, Joe, there is a difference between even being bold and then daring greatly. I try to dare greatly. Some people are not comfortable doing that. When I opened the doors for our first retreat and advertised it, I could not understand why more people weren't signing up for it. And I was pounding my head against the wall. This is an amazing event. This is going to be, the 7 speakers I've got lined up are rock stars. Why wouldn't every superintendent or principal want to be a part of this? And as I've come to sort of accept and realize there's people who will be bold in the minute, but there's not a lot of people who will dare greatly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what made you decide to go public about your, just you were taken out. You were pretty much resigned to life as it was. But you went public. You wrote a book and you just said, I'm choosing not to stay here. I think most people are standing behind this bulletproof wall that says, I've got I've got to respect the office, right? I've got to show up as like I am bulletproof, and therefore, I think I read something about you saying being vulnerable is one of your superpowers,
Yeah.
right?
Vulnerability and consistency. That's something I say all the time. There's a lot better leaders and smarter people than I who have talked about vulnerability. Obviously, Dr. Brene Brown has done a ton of work on it, but I had an editor that was not the editor that I ended up going with, who told me that my book was too vulnerable.
Hmm.
And he was trying to, I appreciated it. He told me, I want to help you with your career. I'm a little bit nervous that if you're this vulnerable, the wrong person might use this against you. And I said to this guy, I appreciated his perspective and time. I said, if I can help other leaders who are afraid to step into this world to be better and they're going through the same things I'm going through, or really even worse, that makes writing that book worth it. And that sounds a little
In your face, but no, it was resolute. It was on purpose. I get where it comes from because I'm
yeah,
getting to know who you are. I
yeah.
mean, to put on, it's really an anti-conference that you're putting on, right?
100%.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. It's
I
it's
mean,
immersive and it's
immersive, like ice bath immersive.
yeah. Oh
What?
yeah, it's amazing. Well, you tell you what, the first time we did it, about half the people were like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." And I said, "Well, nobody's making you do it, but I'm going to tell you something that from just the shock of your system to the way your skin feels. But for me, those ice plunge, cold therapy, brain fog, like Cosmo Kramer, gone.
Yeah.
That's what happens for me. That brain fog is just gone when you got 8,000 projects in your head and your personal life and your kids and your wife and all these things that are occupying your space. I dunk my head under that water for 10 or 15 seconds of frozen water. I come out like a new man.
I've done it one time and I screamed like a little girl.
That's okay. That's okay. You got to control the breathing a little bit, but it's
You
common.
do. You do. And it's about disrupting because we become, I think by the time we're about 45 years of age, from my experience, when I see a leader that's hit that 45, you have become a habitual construct. You've just become just a collective mass of habits, and most of them are unchecked. They're
Yeah.
just accidental, and we forget what it even smells like to live intentionally again. So what has to shock all of that away is an experience where you pull yourself out of those habits where you can't be comfortable.
Yeah.
No.
And I read a great book called From Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks. And
None none better.
he
One of my
talks about
favorite authors.
in the second half of your career, your twilight, whatever it is, that your ability to mentor, to coach, to lean into others will leave the end of your career so much more gratifying. And I think he's right. I'm kind of experiencing that now. And ironically enough, I am 45. And if I can fill up other people's cups, and it's the leaders, it's the kids in my building, it's the staff we have here. If I can do those things, that's so powerful. And and honestly, it makes me feel good too. There's a dopamine hit for helping other people out like
Oh,
that.
absolutely. I think that's what we're designed to do by just the very core nature of who we are and vulnerability, as you've said. I love that consistency and vulnerability. I think vulnerability it's not weakness, right? You see vulnerability and you go, wow, I'm attracted to that, right?
I,
It's preemptive credibility is what it is.
I
You
like that.
now have you've upped your persuasiveness to me. It's like, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah. I love it, Joe. And you know what's funny too is I had one of our speakers at the first Stress Leaders Summit is a guy that I've known for a long time, and he does some photography work. He's owns his own business, does a lot of sports photography, is a former coach, speaker. He talked to one of my administrators about the event, and he said, "Hey, people call me Steck." He's like, "Hey, are you going to Steck's event?" And this guy who I respect and am friends with and is on my leadership team, he kind of laughed and he was like, "Why would I go to that?" But there's this facade that a lot of us carry that I don't vulnerability. That's not me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. We're
I'm
way too polished.
too tough
Yeah.
guy. I'm strong. I
Look at
don't.
that. I'm all
Yeah,
greased up. I'm a polished leader. Yeah, I think that's confusing to people. If you're radically honest and you talk about your story as being more effective today, it's counterintuitive to what the world sees. Honestly,
100.
so
You are right.
is what a real leader looks like. I don't know. There's something about brokenness. I also believe, because I've experienced it myself, kind of in between your 40s and 50s, you get the slats kicked out from underneath you.
Yeah.
There's something, I call it an SLE. It's a significant life event.
Hmm.
And that shapes whether you become a victim to life and how terrible it is to just whatever exist, or you use that to kick back, just really kick back and go, all right, I've got a message now. I absolutely have a message now.
Wow.
My guess that has probably been part of your story as well.
It is, and Joe, that's powerful. I have three very good friends that for all former superintendents who have had a significant life event because of the job that is shaping who they are now. And I tell two of them that have become entrepreneurs, consultants, whatever. I'm their biggest cheerleader. I've got FOMO watching them build these businesses and these things that they're doing, and I'm just so proud of them. But you're right; they had significant life events with this job that have shaped who they have become, and they've gone the opposite. They're not victims; they're crusaders.
Yes, yes. Helping others work through their significant life events, because we don't need everybody that has a significant life event to leave the office. We need a few of them to go out there and, be missionally, out there supporting. But
We
we
need people to stay in the game.
we gotta have them stay in the game, but
Yeah,
but reset, right?
100%.
Reset to somebody transformed, which means like not what you used to be.
Yeah, yeah, I love it,
So
Joe.
good.
We're
So
speaking
good.
the same language.
We could go for hours here, and I'd have to get a piece of pizza probably because you're a Chicago guy. But we'll go to a lightning round, and I want to keep this thing really, really personal. So, what's a quote? What's a quote that you live by, Dan?
There's
Steck,
two. There's
Steck.
two.
What's a
Yeah,
quote that
yep.
Steck lives
So
by?
there's two. My favorite all-time speech, being a former history teacher, is "Man in the Arena" by Teddy Roosevelt. And as a superintendent, you unfortunately sometimes become that public punching bag, and it's not the critic's voice that matters.
Yeah.
It's the guy in the arena picking himself up, dusting it off, taking the blows. That's the guy whose voice. That's the guy whose voice who matters. So I love that one. The second one, I'm looking right across my office, and the quote is, "I'll ride the wave where it takes me," and
Mm,
that's from Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam.
there it is.
Yep, it's one of my favorite bands, and that quote speaks to me on many levels because when I'm having a tough day or even a good day and I'm kind of thinking about something, I'll look at that picture right there that you can't see that says, "I'll ride the wave where it takes me."
Morning person or night owl?
Morning,
There it is.
5 a.m.
Wonderful.
lift, get it in.
Yes, you do. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
A decision that you'd make 10 times over.
I would have the courage to walk up to that girl at Bradley University 25 years ago and she became my wife. That's the best decision I ever made, but becoming superintendent, that's something I would do again and again and again.
Fantastic. Good, good. Deep dish, thin crust. What do you think, boss?
I love a good crispy thin crust. Chicagoland area, there's amazing pizza places. Even in my backyard, 60 miles southwest Chicago, we've got mom and pop pizza places that blow almost anything out of the water. I'm spoiled with pizza, but I like deep dish, but I love a crispy thin crust pizza.
Mm. Best lesson from coaching that applies today to superintending.
I spent a lot of years coaching. I was a varsity head coach, 15 years. I was blessed to be put in the Hall of Fame. Never won a state championship as a high school coach. But I think people respected the way I coached and the way I led our teams and our program that I built. It was a pretty rough program that I inherited, but a lot of success. The greatest lesson I could take away from that is what I've seen the game do with my own daughter. And the lesson would be for any coach or superintendent. If you coached every kid or taught every kid or led every decision about kids like it was a decision that would impact your own child, it'd be a pretty special place to call a school, call home, call work.
Yeah.
So, teaching your classroom like your kid's in the front row, coaching your team like that's your son out there playing first base, or my daughter's on the pitcher's mound. Making decisions as superintendent that would impact my own children. I think if you think in that lens, you have a lot of heart for what you're trying to do.
Rich, my friend, Rich, how about a guilty pleasure that you're slightly embarrassed to talk about?
There's probably a lot of these. They're really, I do a lot of things that embarrass my children, but I'm a big music guy,
Okay.
and I like all kinds of music. But when I'm lifting weights or working out, I've got
What's in your ear?
I got a lot of rap music going, and
Rap music.
I tell my two best friends from childhood, we like to share screenshots of the music we're listening to while we work out or whatever we're doing. And I don't think there's too many 45-year-old superintendents listening to Naughty by Nature while they bench press this morning.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Yeah.
How about what would 2004 Dan think of 2025 Superintendent Dan?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I think he'd be proud. I think that he'd be proud of not only the superintendent that I try to be, but more so the way I'm sort of reinventing my personal health. Back in 1999 or 2000, I was in a lot better shape than I was in 2004 and 2008 and 2018. I think he'd be proud of the habits that I've broken to become a better person and a better leader in 2025.
Yeah. One word for Seneca's future.
Lighthouse. And what I mean by that is that our light will shine so bright because of the amazing things that we do for our kids.
A destination district. All right. So AI versus your best classroom teacher, who wins?
My best classroom teacher every day of the week. Our district's great for so many reasons, but watching my own daughter, who's a senior, go through our school for the last 4 years, and obviously I've been here 22 years, and I can ride my golf cart from my office to my house a mile away.
Oh my goodness.
It's a special place based on relationships. Our teachers really care about our kids. And, we don't have any 6'9" basketball players that I wish we did, but we've got a bunch of really, really good kids, and the relationship piece, the way our kids respect the adults and the way our adults care about our kids. I'm glad my kids have and will go here.
This has been fun. Dr. Steck.
Yeah.
Everybody, here's what Dan just showed us. I think the strongest leaders, we just got to knock. There aren't the ones that hide their struggles. They're the ones that are just real and honest and vulnerable. That's what transforms organizations, is really humans working together, not trying to hide anything. Most superintendents who struggle, they think that they're alone. They're not.
You're not.
Right? Dan proved that they're not. Any last words of encouragement for leaders out there that are just maybe a little bit stuck in the moment?
Yeah, it's tough. It seems like the job gets harder and harder every single year, but when you don't become the victim, and when you focus on all the good things that the job can bring, the positive decisions you can make to support kids and your staff, you got to stay in the game. This industry needs good people that care about kids to stay in the game. And that's what I would say to all the stress leaders out there is keep at it, stay in the game. And if you need support, it's there. Check out my website, stressleaders.com, read my Substack, come to our Stress Leaders Summits. You don't have to do this alone.
There it is. So stressleaders.com.
You got it, Joe.
And then go Irish, right?
Absolutely.
Come on. Thanks, Dr. Dan. You've been such a delight to hang with today.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for having me, Dr. Joe.